So generally there are different roles, right? Freshers, experience, and technical lead. Am I right? And architect will be there.
Yeah.
So these are general roles what we have actually when you try to work on any software or any jobs we try to do, right? For all these roles, most of the jobs are for full stack. Am I right?
Right.
So 90% of full stack, what they are asking the technologies: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, Spring. They'll say Java, or if you say Node, they say Spring Boot or MySQL. Some cloud technologies. Am I right? This is what 90% of the job profiles are. This one only, right?
Mm-hmm.
90% of the job profiles is what? Full stack developers only. So what are the types of companies we have? We may have mid-size, or we may have a big MNC. Am I right?
Yeah.
We may have a mid-size company, or we may have a startup. So every company works in a different way, different culture. Startup means you need to do from here to this one. So if you're going in a big MNC, you might be working either only on this front end part, or you might be working on only on this, or you might get a chance only to work on cloud. Because when you go for this type of companies, right, there might be project duration of 6 months, 3 months. Once the sprint is over, you might be moving to some other project. And if you're lucky enough to work on a project where you can do an end-to-end application. But in sometimes you might be end up doing every project. See, you see some resumes, right? 3 months project, 4 months project, 6 months project. Am I right?
Yeah.
We also keep on the resume 3 months, 4 months. In 3 months, what we'll be doing? We'll be doing either only on the back end, or we might be doing on the front end. So we keep changing in the company. We keep changing on the project to projects. But when you go in a company, what is the model they follow? That is the agile model. Okay, any developer, fresher or experience, they follow the agile model. So if you're targeting like a fresher job or a mid-size of 3, 4 years of experience, mostly you'll be doing only the part of development. Okay.
Okay.
Generally, if you take a fresher or a 3 to 4 years guy max, so we only do the development part. But if you're going as a technical lead, so what was the role you got, Sandeep?
It's a small startup, Panay, I think. So
Role
it's
designation,
basically
what they have assigned you?
it's a senior front-end developer role.
Yeah. So if you are going like a senior front-end developer role,
Yeah.
say we have different in technical leads also. There are full stack lead as well, and few are UI leads. Okay.
Okay.
So technical lead, what he will be doing? He needs to do the design document. Okay.
Okay.
Then he needs to assign work to the developers. He needs to participate in meetings. Am I right? With the client or with the management? Who will do? The lead will do. Above the lead will be program manager or project manager. He will be the program manager. But lead's job is to do all these things: design the document, assign the work to the developer. General use case will be a lead will be having 2 or 3 developers. Or you might be a module lead where you will be leading a particular module. Suppose say you're developing a food delivery app. So you might be taking up the store module. So all those things, someone might be, other lead might be taking about the payment module, something like that. If you have multiple people, so program manager will take care of all these activities, and he will be reporting, talking to the management and the client. So the lead will be talking to the program manager. But as a fresher or as an experience, if you are going that role, we will be coordinating mostly with the technical leads. They will be assigning you the works. After every 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, you will be having a appraisal process. So during your appraisal, you are being rated by your leads. Then the first level of rating will be done by them. The next will be done by a program manager. Your hikes and everything are dependent on these factors.
Then where comes product owner in this process?
There are different ways. If you're developing a project or a product in a company, there example, you take a healthcare company example. In healthcare, what are the features you have? Lot of things, right?
Yeah, patient management data,
Like
like
you have lot of
outpatient,
things.
inpatient.
What
Yeah,
you have billing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You have nursing, am I right?
yeah,
Then what your patients, am I right?
yeah.
Then what you have, say something
Report.
beds allocation example.
Yeah,
Sorry, this say I will say this one. Medical. What is that one? Medical shop is there, right? Medicals.
pharmacy.
Pharmacy. Yeah, pharmacy might be a module. See, generally these things, each one you will be having a BA. Every big company might have a BA. BA is nothing but a business analyst who talks to the client, takes the requirement from them, and creates a BRD. BRD is nothing but
Business requirement
BRD
document.
is nothing but business requirement document.
Mhm.
These are all rules followed by big MNCs or a mid-sized company. So generally, a BRD is designed by the BA. If you're working in some good company where they follow the complete process, first the BRD is defined by the BA. Once the BRD is defined, they upload the stories. They create a story point, stories. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
The BA creates the stories. So these are the guys who create the stories. Few companies may have a BS and few may not have the BS. But whoever has any companies who have a BA, the business analyst, because if you're working in a product, you need a business analyst because he will analyze multiple products to create our product. Am I right? He needs to
Yeah.
analyze what is there in other product, what is there in other things. Based on that, he will be coming up with our own product. So the BA creates the story. Say the BA in billing have created some 10 stories. Okay.
Okay.
These stories, the first they will upload in Jira. So every company, they follow the Jira. Jira is a process which helps us to identify like where we are, what we are doing, who is working on what, a proper tool to track all the project activity. Okay.
Okay.
So generally a sprint, earlier also I told, a sprint will be 2 week cycle. Okay.
Okay.
So generally a sprint you take will be a 2 week cycle. So in this 2 week cycle, again, what you do in this, how many days you get? 8 days of development. So if our job as just as a developer we got, our job is just nothing but our lead will assign our stories, freshers, for like freshers, like for example Shweta and your brother, I forgot his name, Santosh.
Santosh.
They got a like a fresher job. Their job is only to do the coding. You guys have cracked a senior interview questions, or you have been promoted to a technical lead. What is your job? Your job, apart from doing your work of doing the technical designing and other things, you need to allocate the stories to the freshers or your team members. So how the team members will be allocated is there will be one senior developer or two junior developers. That's how the capacity will be planned. Okay. You
Okay.
will be having generally one senior, or generally you will have one senior or two juniors. Okay.
Okay.
Company does a campus hiring, right?
Yeah.
What they will do, where they will put. So they will tag
Uh,
them to the seniors. Okay.
Okay.
And this is how generally a small company can have a three resources where one, two will be juniors and one will be senior. Senior guy will be guiding these two juniors. And before the start of the story, how can you start a story? The BA does a grooming. What you have? The concept of grooming of stories. Okay. The BA
Okay.
will start the grooming of the stories. And once the grooming is done, then they will move it for stories for ready for development. Okay. You understood how the
Mm-hmm.
things
Yeah.
move in a company?
Yeah.
So then they do it for ready for development. From here on, it is the developer job to pick up and start working on his story points.
Okay. So in a small startup like where they just started, where they don't have leads or
This,
someone,
this is
so
not
what will
this is
happen?
for a mid-sized company. Okay.
Okay.
Generally, you work in a product-based company. This is the process they
Okay.
follow. They follow the agile process where you get the story from the BA grooming, ready for
Okay.
development to ready for release is our job. Okay.
Okay.
So then every management will track your progress and everything by the Jira. How these guys are done, how what they are doing, what unit test cases they are writing. Unit test document also you need to upload. But in a startup, what is your role? What will be doing? How your requirement comes, I'll show it. So in a startup, if you're working, how it will be, it based on the type of startup you're working on. You may work on e-commerce company. You might be working on a food delivery company, or you might work on a edtech company. So edtech is
Yeah.
nothing but you might be preparing a LMS platform. LMS is nothing but learning management system, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be doing the LMS platform. Or if you're working on a finance. So this is how generally in a startup, if you're doing a small company, they generally you get the requirements like this. I got a requirement, say online learning and live management. Sorry, okay, this is okay. You got it. Online learning and live teaching platform. They
Mm-hmm.
give. I got the requirement like this. Now let us first we need to analyze this. Okay. First you need to understand all these flows. There are so many flows. See, user flows, instructor user flow, key features, live interaction, certification assessment. You got right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a startup, I got this, all the requirements. Okay.
Okay. Oh,
See, yes,
they gave the tech stack as well.
some people come up, some we decide the tech stack.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies or a startup will be tech savvy. They want their own tech stacks. Some will give the leverage like this is my requirement, boss. You do the tech stack for me. You decide the tech stack and share it to me. You got right? How they have given me the requirement? See, flow,
Okay.
start, registration, login, browser, book a session, enroll, assessment, certification, community engagement, and this is one flow. Examples. Am I right? Course creation generally. Start, login as instructor, create a course, upload content, add quiz, assignment, set price, free trial, publish, other things. You got right? The flow they have
Yeah.
given how it should be. Am I right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So what is our next step? I got my requirement and I
Mhm.
need to read all this requirement. Am I right?
Yeah.
After reading the requirement, what you will be doing, you need to come up with your questions like what you understood in this. You need to create a series of meetings with them, asking whether this flow is like this flow is like this. Yes. The next step comes up with your requirement analysis. So in this requirement, I need to learn all these things. I need to do the analysis and I need to understand what the next step is, how my UX will be, how my designs will be, how I will be creating my schema, database schema or these tables like this. Few are very good clients you might get. They will only give you the database schema as well. Like this, it should be like this. That's how you get for a startup. You when you're going, what is this one means the company like domain. For example,
Yeah.
I got some by someone the requirement. This is a Figma.
Mhm.
He has created a Figma design of these dashboards.
Okay.
This is one way how a user come up with the requirement. Okay. See, this was one of the Figma design earlier also I showcased you. You can see this. So this was a Figma design. A user come up with this Figma design. When I click on this, right, I can visualize the Figma. Okay. Based on this visualization, okay, I can think, okay, this the workflow, how should it work? They will come up with this Figma design. You
Mhm.
got the requirements, you got the
Yeah.
Figma design, am I right?
Yeah.
How this works, Figma design, okay?
Mhm.
This is completely Figma design. You got?
Okay.
You understood? This is the Figma design flow. You got
Okay.
Yeah.
all the other actions he has given. I got complete Figma for my application. So I have my requirements, I have my Figma. So what model I can follow? There are different models. One is waterfall model and other is agile model. Agile model is nothing but they keep adding requirements one after other. For a startup company, it will be a complete project project development. You need to do a complete project end to end. You need to estimate. No, no. See, this client has given me his requirements as well, and he has given me Figma flow. Okay, this is how it
Mhm.
should work. For this, what will be my next step? Any guesses? So any
Oh.
wild guess? So see, we have seen as a startup, I may got a requirement in my Excel sheet. Am I right? Sorry, in my Word document. Okay.
Okay.
So for this, there might be a case where the client comes up with saying, please create a designs and you can share them the designs for approval. Okay, boss, as per your requirement, we have designed these screens or this UX is like this. Please provide an approval to start the development. And we need to ensure that without client approval or without their consent, we should not start any development activity. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Why? Why? Can you tell why?
Because like once we start the development and when we come back with the work, they say it's not the way we wanted, then all the development work goes in vain. So we don't
Yes,
want.
you are right. So the first step is few of the clients, you got a requirement. If you're having a designer, the designer does a mock screens or the Figma design. I whatever shown you, right? The Figma design.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They take this Figma design and they will do the mock screens and link the pages and give it to us. What we do, we share the same Figma design to the client for approval. So once the client provides approval, then only we start it. Or there are companies or there are clients who come up with the Figma designs. This is the design. What we need to do, our designer, or we need to provide an estimate of the time how much this will take. I have everything with me now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complete flow he has given me, how it should work.
Mhm.
all clickable actions and everything, right?
Mhm.
See, everything he has given me. Am I right?
Yeah.
So I need to come up with an estimation document. Like was how much time it will take to estimate this part of work. You got?
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we discussed today, just a summary. Can you guys tell me?
And the process flow, like what happens depending upon the size of the company, whether it's mid-size or startup, or depending upon product-based company or service-based company, and
Yeah.
the methodology they use, the agile. So how they assign Jira tickets and how they track the progress depending upon the management level. And when can we start the development work? If we don't have the client approval, we need to get clarity on them, and like how the grooming happens from business analysts. Like we need to come up with a lot of questions before they assign the Jira story to us, so that like we can have clarity on the workflow of their development. And if we are a senior developer, then not just we need to do our work, we are supposed to guide junior developers and assign some tasks to them and coordinate with the technical lead in preparing the documents as well. So,
You're
and
right. So the point, say I worked in a healthcare domain previously.
okay,
So it was in APR healthcare. So there was completely, see, we don't have a domain knowledge, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
There will be very big products. So when you don't have domain knowledge, who will give you? The BA, the business analyst will be giving you the domain knowledge. That is nothing but the functional knowledge.
Okay.
For example, you may have a NUS workbench, but how NUS workbench works, you don't know, right? It's a domain knowledge. So that functional concept of hospital management or the hospital domain, the BA will give us the domain knowledge. With that, they come up with the requirements with the designs and everything that we need to implement if you're working in already existing product. But what we are learning is we will be doing for a startup. So startup, how it comes, I've shown you a requirement, right? EdTech, how it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
So how the Figma will come and what is our next step. Once we got the Figma, what will be our next step? That we'll be doing. Okay.
okay.
So am I sharing my screen? No,
No, no,
Yeah.
no, I'm sharing, right? Stop sharing.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah. So that is what is the activity. Then the main goal is if you are going for a technical lead or a lead or a the next level architecture. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have my I have my requirement document. Am I right?
yeah,
Yeah.
You got it? You got the Figma design?
Yeah.
Now what is the next step? You need to identify what technology we need to use.
Mhm.
Am I right?
yeah,
Yeah.
What architecture we need to follow. What is the infra we need it. Infra means just for us as a developer will think, but infra is a
mhm,
bigger picture that architects and other things will take care of. But for us also, we need to have a minimum small project. What type of infra is needed? Am I right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Where do we deploy? Means hosting, either which
Mm.
like AWS or DigitalOcean or Google Cloud, all these things. Then you need to identify NFRs. NFRs is non-functional requirements. For example, some of the products may go for auditing. So are we maintaining that proper coding standards or not?
Mm.
Non-functional requirements, for example, password strength should be this much. If you're doing any bank project or finance, right, definitely every project goes through an audit.
Mm-hmm.
So through audit only it will go. So what are the flow we think? So identify. So first thing, architect. You got a requirement document.
Yeah.
This is one. Am I right?
Mhm. Yeah.
This is something like, okay, just a second. I wanted to highlight the next Figma design you got.
Yeah.
Then what you do? Identify
Tools.
which technology we need to use.
Mm-hmm.
Then what architecture we need to follow. We need to identify, right? Either a
Yeah.
microservice based or a monolithic architecture or
Mm.
working in an existing one only. Am I right?
Yeah.
Then what is infra we need that is needed, right? Like infra means on what type of box, what environment, how much should be all the server, RAM and other things, right?
Okay.
Next, where do we deploy? On the AWS or DigitalOcean. Then finally, what we need to NF for non-functional requirements, if client has any, I guess. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what database we need to choose? Like MySQL or MongoDB. All these are a process flow. So all these things we need to think. If we are, see, you don't want to work anywhere, but you want to start your own company, or you want to build your own product. So how do? You need to do all these things,
Okay.
right? If you're building your own product, you need to do all these things, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
a
Right.
company like a startup or anything, these are taken care by each different role. Like a fresher, if I'm applying
Mm-hmm.
fresher, do we need all these things? No, right?
No.
No. Yeah.
What he needs only
Coding.
the UI screen
Mm-hmm.
and APIs to integrate. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But to do a project end to end, do we need all these things?
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That.
So there are different people, different roles are done. So, but as a fresher, if you got a job, he'll ask, what is my UI? What is my API to integrate? What logic I need to write? That's
Mhm.
only job for him. At least for 3 to 4 years, he does the same thing.
Okay.
When you're increasing, when your experience keeps on increasing, all these things you will be doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a startup, 5 to 10 people, then you will be involved in all these things.
Yeah.
So we need to be ready to face in any kind of environment. What classes, what we are doing is to gain the knowledge, but these are a real time. These are the real time work or the practicals what we are learning in these classes. So the daily classes what we are having is good to crack an interviews. This is making us more self confidence, building our confidence.
Okay.
So what project we will be building is, I have,
Mm-hmm.
you can put it in your resumes as well if you want to give a try. We want to build something like this, not this one. I shown last time as well, right? This one like this.
Yeah.
Last time also I showed this time, I guess, in one of the demo, not to you, Ashish, for these guys. Am I right?
Yeah.
How
Okay.
this works.
Is yeah.
So this we will be building. This takes something from us, right?
Yeah. It.
Am I right? How all these things comes.
Yeah.
So I go here, all these items, adding to a cart, making a payment, adding something, pay, then going to my orders. These things, this is a workflow, right? There is some workflow given to me. So what is the order status completed? Am I right? On progress, cancelled. How this order goes to the back end. All these things is a workflow, right? Front end and back end. Am I right? So
Yes.
we will be building all these things. First one, how do we get the requirements?
Okay.
Means the design, the HTML. Either you do
Yeah.
or the UX do. We are applying for a job of UI developer or full stack developer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is the role of UI UX. Every company needs to have him. What is this role? What does he does? He does you these HTMLs. The design you see here, right? This design.
Yeah.
You share the Figma or you share the design. He will does you all these things
Mhm.
and gives you the HTML and CSS. For example, I got my HTML and CSS like this. See, he has done to me. See, you got right the HTML part. You're able to see,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
designer has done and given to me all these things. Then my job as a UI developer, if I'm going as a UI developer, only front end developer, I'll be only doing the React stuff. Means integrate API will be giving my API will be given to me by the backend team, and
Mhm.
I will be only doing the integrating the UI and doing the UI. I'm not bothered how the backend works. That's the
Mhm.
job of a UI developer. And a
Oh,
backend developer, what he does, he's not bothered about how the UI looks. His job, he's only concentrating on storing in the database, creating a API, and giving it to the front end. And
Mhm.
there should be a sync between both of them because ultimately the end goal is the proper working functional product which these two guys should cooperate and do. And that cooperation and getting the work done is taken care by the technical lead and the project manager. Project manager does the ultimate delivery to the client or to the management. His higher authority, the next one who is there for him.
Okay.
Full stack developer, as a full stack developer, for example, Sandeep is going as full stack developer. His job is to do end to end. Means he needs to do this UX as well as getting the data from the backend means writing the APIs and finishing this functionality. This
Mm.
entire flow functionality, if he is able to complete, then he is done as a full stack developer. You
okay.
got right? I created an order and coming to the order display page. If you're able to do this functionality, then you are a complete full stack developer.